Well, I was raised in a very musical home. I think in high school, academically, I wasn't quite the star that I could have been, and so I think the music had something to do with that, or spending so much time with music that I was neglecting studies.
It's funny, I had convinced all my friends I was going to be a rock star before I even started playing guitar.
You did kind of look the part.
For some reason, some of them actually believed me.
Yeah. Ironically, I started my musical career as a clarinet player. And when I hit the 6th grade, I had braces. And so they said, we're just going to move him off of clarinet because clarinet and braces often don't play well together. And we're going to put him in the percussion section. And by the time my 3 years or whatever it was that I was in braces had elapsed, I had decided that drums were the way to go.
The guitar players got all the girls, and I just wanted to be a rock star. Of course, I got over the rock star part last year. I was 15 at the time, and took a few lessons. I learned more just from hanging out with friends who played guitar, and I would play it hours for, each day for quite a while.
And you did have the look going on. And I, in the meantime, was more Napoleon Dynamite. And so we made an awkward pair.
And we basically wrote a couple of songs of our own. We did some cover tunes that we liked at the time. But we actually wrote, the first song was not very good at all. The second song was significantly better. I remember that. And I even remember how they go. I'm not going to sing them for you, though.
Thank you.
The year 2000, we got together. We decided we wanted to go ahead and put a band together, a kind of a modernized version of worship music. That's really how this band evolved. Of course, being the prog head guys that we are, we ended up making the music pretty much progressive rock. And the name of the band at that time was actually called Touch the Sky, which we ended up changing that to the album project. And we didn't come up with the band name Supernal Endgame until...
I think it was that time we played a gig and they introduced us as Touch This Guy. Well, for the first album, we had with 2 or 3 exceptions, we had gone with songs that we'd been living with for a while, since 2000 or so. John actually just kind of self-started the album. We'd recorded some stuff and he just took those tracks and started adding stuff to it. But when we got to the second album, we had achieved a bit more of a fusion. John had all these basically song structures and lyrical ideas more or less fleshed out, but there were gaps in some cases, and in other cases there were songs that we expanded or extended and added sections to and made it more like a prog epic where you have a lot of callbacks to previous material, and so it feels like one long song as opposed to a bunch of different songs tacked together.
I've always gravitated toward the majestic type of music. I didn't think of it as progressive rock early on, but I tended to like bands like Kansas, Rush, Yes, As far as writing together, it's kind of hard to do. A lot of it is just a matter of time, you know, taking another person's idea and doing something with it and hoping that they like it.
Over the years, we've kind of developed a way of working together. It's never just, I've got an idea, you've got an idea, it's got to be one of these. I mean, I call it the rule of the third way. Oftentimes, when we invoke that rule, that's where magic happens. I mean, that's where something really out of the box takes place.
Life in this world offers no guarantees, no certain choices before us, but you are the solid foundation we seek. Only your peace can restore us.
I think as a goal, we just want to make the best music we can and the most interesting arrangements with details enough that people can listen to the song 12 times and still get something new out of every time.
I believe the music speaks for itself. I believe when people hear it, if they're inclined to something other than if their ears are tuned to something other than just what the airwaves are feeding them, there's a good chance people might like what we do. I think there is a desire out there for people to experience more musically, and as far as the message in the music, people, I think, are hungry for the message that we portray in the lyrics of our music as well. If nobody ever listened to anything that I wrote, I would still write it. First of all, I consider it's for an audience of one, for God. I believe, you know, when He gives us gifts, we give them back. But as an old man, I know that I will be writing music.
For me, music is an opportunity to reconnect with what I started off with in my professional career, which was to be a professional musician, that emotional piece. And it's almost like the music that we do is like a soundtrack to the preaching and teaching ministry.
And that's what music means to me.